advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Com Tower. This is Haji. Do you read me over?
Pacho, this is Com Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower, Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence a field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. Say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah! Get some. Hurrah! What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing this awesome week as we are mid-July and, getting back to, getting ready for our weekend. And it's, I still like to call it Baby Friday. Before we get started, you know how I like to start my show. So, this is a show that basically I supported and I still support the Constitution of the United States of America, Second Amendment, right to own guns, as well as bear arms, as well as, freedom of speech. So with that being said, no topic here is, I guess, taboo for lack of better words. So if you like what you hear, stick around, like, subscribe, follow, as well as pass it on to other people who you think may benefit or may like the show. If not, then you also have the right to move on and listen to something else, perhaps something on sitchradio.com. There's plenty of shows there. I highly recommend, Combat Vet Vision. It's a really good show, and Feed Drops, that's another really good one. And this show is also brought to you by ACN Global Services. If you would like to, if you're a business owner and would like to take in credit cards at Castle Services, they have an array of choices for both residential as well as commercial, merchant services, as well as security, identity theft, insurance, all kinds of really good stuff. So if you ever have time and you want to find out more and you want to save some money on not only as well as on your electrical and mobile services and direct TV and all kinds of other stuff, check out castleglobalservices.acnido.com and go in there and find out more information. So, but with that being said, let's move on to the meat and potatoes of this show. And let's talk a little bit about, traveling. Now, a lot of us who are in the military are quite familiar with travel. Some of us travel not because we wanted to, but because they told us to. In other words, we were voluntold. But I think the underlying, I guess, the really, really small fine print when all of us joined the services, at some point in time, you may get sent somewhere. It may not be all cushy or a really cool place. You may end up being in an austere environment that you may have to, deal with difficult people, insurgents, the enemy, the weather, bugs, all kinds of just heinous things that can affect not only us mentally, but mainly, I guess you could put morale in the mental piece as well. In addition to being sick. I mean, I remember when we were given notice to that the first time in 2003 when we were going to go to Iraq. I mean, that was a pretty, I guess, while I did wanted to go and defend our Constitution and as well as defend the folks in Iraq, against Saddam Hussein and all those things. There was part of me like, oh shit. This is real. This is as real as it gets. I mean, I did join the military, and this was part of it that I may get deployed somewhere. So I had a little bit of mixed emotions, and you go through a lot of things to go through your head, because in that instance, I mean, it was combat related. So, oh my God, what's going to happen to my family if something happens to me? Am I ever going to see my wife at the time and my kids? Will they miss me? Just all these crazy emotions and thoughts go through your head that I know that quite a few of you have gone through as well. I mean, shit. Some of you out there may have gone through it multiple. I know I did multiple times, but I know a lot of you were have done back-to-back deployments depending on the service, on your service branch, as well as your job and your rotation cycle. I had quite a few friends who were just doing one rotation after the other, and I was just like, Jesus Christ, how are you even dealing with it? But hey, we do the do, and it's all about mission accomplishment and getting it done. So we did what we did. So in those instances, we were just told that, hey, you're going to deploy this and you're going to travel. So that was my deployment. However, and that's in 2003. But I came in in the early 90s. So I had other deployments as well, which I guess you could say I was somewhat of an austere environment. But the point being is, even both when I went to Iraq in 2003, while there, it opened up opened up my eyes to things that in other cultures, and I guess it just made me more understanding to, I guess, or open as to, when I'm dealing with somebody, when I'm, hey, let's face it, we call call centers from all around the world sometimes, where America's outsourcing some of this work, and I'm not saying it's bad or good. It's all, from a business standpoint, it makes sense and whatever, but it just, sometimes you may have to deal with people that, hey, because of the language barrier, they're gonna go ahead and you may think that they're saying things to you in a certain way where you may get offended. However, you got to be, because of the things and the things that the travel I've done and the exposure I've had, and it's like, well, no, it's not that they're being rude or anything. That's just one, most likely their culture. Two, like myself, English is my second language, so we may get sometimes the pitches and the high tones, low tones, or we're saying something, it just, because again, this person's trying to think in a different language origin from theirs. I stumble through shit. I'm stumbling through English right now, so it just made me a little bit more understanding from a different standpoint as to where these individuals are coming from. Now, I may not still like the place or whatever the case may be, because you're gonna, like, there's good places, there are bad places, whatever, but it just makes you a little bit more, I guess, more open and be able to step back instead of just losing your cool when you're on the phone with I don't know, a call center or whatever else. So I guess I've been lucky enough to say that because of that exposure, I've been able to not only see some really cool places, even in Iraq. I was able to, and maybe next time, so we'll talk about this again. I'll bring some photos. It's just these photos are not digitized. To some of you who are still in your 20s and 30s, yes, before there were digital photos, there was actually paper hard copies of photographs. So, I still have to digitize them, but even in Iraq, I was able, I was lucky enough to see things like, Mesopotamia, where it all begins and began basically civilization. Iraq being one of the, this was the place, some of you may believe it or not, but if you look at history, that area was the place to go to learn things. If you want to learn math, if you want to learn, be something, this is back before, times before Christ. This was the place to go and learn and become, somebody as far as education, lawyer, philosopher, whatever the case, mathematician, that entire area right there, was the place to be. In one of the areas that we stopped, and I really wish that somebody from 4th LAR, from my deployment in 2003 with 4th LAR was in the show, or they called in. Hey, by the way, if anybody from 4th LAR is listening, please feel free to comment on the right there on the show. And if you want to call in, we could set something up during this show. That'd be, because I know we share the same experiences. But in one of the pauses, which happened to be the First Marine Division's headquarters. This is one of Saddam Hussein's one of the 4 castles that he had. Now, only VIPs were allowed in these really nice areas, these castles that this guy had. But one in particular that, this is one of the famous castles where, everything was in marble. The cracks, the cracks in between the marbles were made in gold. They had, some furniture gold plated, the doors. I mean, yes, it was to that level, and I got to see that stuff. But this was in the city of, not too far from Diwania, where the university happened to be, not that far from there. But this is where the First Marine Corps set up, and this was Babylon. Yes, the city, the biblical city of Babylon, where King Nebuchadnezzar and his father, I think his name was Nabopolassar. This dude used the river, the river as a weapon, and basically inundated the entire city when trying to conquer it, and drowned basically everybody. And then, so this is where the famous Ishtar Gate is located, or was located, still there. But because the city was basically, everything was flooded, they built on top of it. So the new gate, the new Ishtar Gate, which happened to have, as one of the things on the door, very famous. It had a chimera, which a chimera happens to be, it's a combination between a bird, a snake, and a lion, I believe. It has the claws of a lion, the body of a bird, has the tail of a snake. So, basically it's like 3 animals it's a mythical animal put together. So it happens to be at the gate, guarding the gates. And plus, this is where, and in that same area, this is where the whole Tower of Babel happened to be located, which, those of you who are famous with religious and know your history, this is where basically all the languages began. They were building this tall tower that was supposed to be up to the heavens. Somebody shot an arrow, and to the heavens in kind of blasphemy, and God punished them as they were building this tower. Basically said, hey, God basically said, everybody will not be able to understand each other and not finish this thing. So that's kind of how the story goes. And yes, I happened to see all that. We happened to be in a museum, and it was really cool. And one of the things which it doesn't even exist anymore, which I was, myself and some of the Marines that were there with us, and other service members, the Lion of Babylon happened to be located there. And the cool thing about this lion, it was made out of stone. I mean, entirely one solid piece of stone, and this lion was carved out of that. And it just showed the strength and in the Iraqi people, they really liked this thing because it represented their strength. And the lion, was a powerful figure, even to this day in their culture. So one of the cool historical pieces about this thing is that the face happened to be kind of cracked and defaced. And what happened was, just during World War II, the Germans happened to be, going through that area, and they try to steal this thing, and they try to lift it with a crane and everything. But this thing is so heavy, that basically they could not, they cracked the face with the crane, and how they were trying to lift, they couldn't lift it, and they couldn't take it, so they had to leave it in place. Anyways, this line and all those things is located so Saddam Hussein's palace is up here, and then King Nebuchadnezzar's palace happened to be down there in the city of Babylon. So I got to walk through all these things, and I mean, people, this is where civilization started. This is the first paved street happened to be done at this city. There was refrigerated. These folks were so far ahead of their time that they had refrigeration. I mean, you can walk down into these so-called refrigerators where they stored, maintain things cool. And and I got to walk through King Nebuchadnezzar's palace. I mean, just the ruins, but I mean, it was just, you can just imagine how magnificent, how magnificent this whole thing is. I mean, the Tigris River is located there as well. And I mean, Saddam Hussein's palace was pretty cool stuff to see. So, I got to see all these things, as well as, and I got to know the people, uh, the local population, how, they saw us, at that time, 2003, they saw us, in a different way. And it's just funny how, when you travel around the world, how, their perception of us, especially here in the US, is just, like everybody said, as we would drive by, they would do a peace sign. I mean, that this is a pretty much common all around the world. Not this one, because if you go to England or whatever, this is pretty much like, flipping the bird. But, this, and they kept saying, Michael Jackson, Michael Jackson. It's just, you know, that's how they saw us, as Michael Jackson. It was just funny. But how, even music just cuts through these barriers at that time. But the point I'm trying to make is that, I got to, meet some really nice people and the local population, and just learn about them, that not everybody is an insurgent. Not everybody's out to harm you. Not everybody, they want, they appreciate the fact that you're there and that you're helping them out, and you remove this tyrant from power, at that time. So I mean, as I think back on the things that I've seen, and the places that I've gone, I mean, that's pretty cool. But just as, and now that bring it to more recent times, now that the world is coming around and getting back to some type of normal shit. I mean, these last 2 years, I think if the whole pill from the Matrix, was true, if there was a pill where I could erase these last 2 years, I mean, I would take that pill in a heartbeat. And I'm glad that the world, and it's opening its borders, because we got, traveling, just, again, it opens up our, our perspective and our spectrum to just so many different things. And I'm going to share some photos that I've taken on some of my travels, that just as recent here. So hopefully, I mean, look at this right here. I mean, look at this beautiful sunset. I mean, I just want to show that scooter. By the way, to my fellow motorcycle riders, yes, I rented a scooter because this is the only thing that you can rent, pretty much on this island in Greece, in Santorini, which, by the way, is really cheap. Don't think that, hey man, Pacha's a baller and whatever. No, it's just, tickets are really affordable now, and with Airbnb and technology, I mean, but look at that beautiful sunset. Go ahead and let's see what I mean. If you scroll through the next one, I mean, look at that. I mean, these. I'm just in awe that. So what we did is you could take this all day excursion for $89 all day. I mean, lunch wasn't included or anything like that, but but food, it was super cheap. Anyways, and I just stayed there while my wife was kind of like, looking around, and she was trying to find some t-shirts because it's kind of like the thing that we bring back t-shirts for everybody. But I was just sitting there, and I just kept taking photos of this freaking beautiful sunset. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's beautiful. Go ahead and let's go to the next one. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the first thing that we show. Is there a next one, Joey, or are the other ones loading up? They must still be loading up. But I mean, things like this. I mean, we should be able to just soak it all in. Look at how just different parts of the world are just so freaking beautiful, man. It's just so at that moment, let's go ahead and go back to the other one. I mean, as I sat there and hoped that my wife wasn't really spending a lot of money, I mean, I was just like, holy shit. I mean, and then people, and this is nothing. I mean, though it was jam packed with people, just waiting for the sunset, because it was just beautiful, and it was. I mean, as I just sat there, and I was just like, holy cow. And my wife joined. Obviously she joined me after she was done with her excursion. But little things like this is when it's what makes us thankful and say, God damn, we're still we're such a small part of just and in this big thing we call Earth. You know what I mean? So, but I've been lucky enough to, there's another photo right there from, Santorini. I mean, I was able, I'm like, this is a place where you see, I mean, this is shit that you see in postcards. By the way, I got really, really, really good at, with my iPhone. It's amazing what you can learn out of fucking Instagram or how to take photos. Is there another one that might have come through? you know, but yeah, I got really, really good at it. So, but I mean, look at this. I mean, these are things that, I'm glad that we're able to, travel again. And if you're thinking of traveling, I highly recommend Greece. One, the low season is coming. We went right before it kicked off on the high season, but September is coming up. That's the low season. Plane ticket. One of my coworkers is Greek, and that's so he gave me the tip. September is the best time to go. Super cheap. The food is amazing. I mean, we ate seafood. I mean, basically right off the water, and everything was, and the euro exchange. But you get so much more over there, for very little. I mean, it's the bottom line. But the point I'm trying to make everybody is that, get out there and see the world. Let's get out of your bubble. If you, I mean, with with the amount of choices that we have in as far as technology, you don't have to stay in a hotel. I mean, you can find great deals through any apps. But I mean, shit, we used Airbnb, and we were right by the water. Very, very affordable. I mean, it was under $100. I mean, our lodging for a day. The food, you can also, if you're pretty savvy with a phone, I mean, which I think everybody is nowadays. I mean, you can pretty much find any place, very affordable trips, tours, all these things. And it just makes you more understanding. One thing that we're used to here when you go out to eat is, hey sir, how can I help? Well, most places, hey sir, how can I help you? May I take your order? Is everything good? As you're eating, hey, is everything good? Blah blah. In some places, in this culture, it's, you gotta call the waiter to come. Hey, can I get some food? Oh, okay, great. Depending on, because we ended up at a place where there was a couple of folks from Latin America working, and it's in our that's how and in this side, that's kind of how we do when the client is eating or whatever. But it just, those things, you're like, okay, this is not, I'm not back in the US. I can't be like, hey, god damn it, let me get my food and no, it's just different. But all in all, it was a great experience. And I my soul was so at peace, in the sense that, because it was like, okay, we're getting, things are opening up. This feels like, before 2 years ago, where we're able to go. So I highly recommend Greece. Then you don't have to take a COVID test. You don't have to be vaccinated. Because I know there's people out here who, whether you are or not, whatever, that's your prerogative. But I'm just saying that, hey, Greece, you don't got to do any of that stuff. Buy your plane tickets and just go. Highly recommend Santorini. Very cheap. It's like a 40-minute flight, if that, to from Greece there. And by the way, Athens, Greece, mainland, super cheap. It's even cheaper. I mean, Santorini was pretty cheap, but this place was even that much cheaper. I mean, Athens is mainland is that much affordable, is what I'm trying to say. So go out there, see the world, and get to know different cultures. It'll just make you more understanding. I know it has for me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I still. I mean, there's areas that I've gone and that I visited, and I won't go back. But I could say, hey, you know what? I've been there, done that. Didn't really enjoy it, but it was an experience. I mean, and we got to be thankful and lucky that we've been able to do it. And I just want to give a shout out to Mr. Mad Max, Scott the Wild Man Gilman. He's yes, I will take the red pill. But traveling as a whole, I mean, I know Scott, kind of getting back to what we were saying before, is he deployed quite a bit of times, and I know that his spectrum is in regards to seeing the world and things. It's just it's a lot broader than than the average person. I mean, shit. Not too long ago, right before I went to on this trip, I was in Colombia visiting my some of my family, and I'm lucky enough that here it's flights are very low, cheap, and affordable, and it's just a 3 hour flight from here to there. Uh, but I mean, imagine, when as I was telling people, oh yeah, I travel, because people will ask, oh, you've been here, and I just tell them, yeah, I've been here and there. It's just their awe, and they're just looking so amazed that, wow, you do all these things. And because some people never leave their world, and it's sometimes some people just can't even fathom, holy shit, I venturing out of their border. And I'm just saying in the sense that, because it's just that it's not that their concept, or that, yeah, they know people that travel, they see TV, and because there's cable and everything, but it's just sometimes it even amazes me. It's like, wow, it's like, where, in this day and age, people still like that exist, that they just can't, it's unthinkable that, oh yeah, you've been to all these places, or wow, you took an airplane ride. I mean, it, to that level. And it's not a bad or good, but it's just, I mean, you still find folks like that. And which is kind of, to some degree, it's kind of, refreshing to still see folks like that with that level of innocence when it comes to those things. Because I mean, with so much stuff being saturated out there, and information just being bombarded at all times on your phones and your personal devices, that you can still find people like that. But all in all, you know get out there, travel, see the world, open up your perspective. You know, get out of your comfort zone. Let's forget these last 2 years, and just do the do, and spread joy and cheer. To the world, because we need it. We need that shit really bad after this last couple of years. I don't know where we've gone with that, but that's for another show. So before I wrap things up, I just want to say, hey, look, if you've been struggling with things, and ruminating thoughts, things that just putting you in that, going down that rabbit hole where it just puts you in a bad spot, please reach out to somebody. Reach out to me. Reach out through the VA, TRICARE, Military One Source, or if you haven't heard from a buddy for a while, shit, do a buddy check. Just do a quick, hey man, and send them a text. Hey man, I'm just doing a quick comms check with all my friends, just making sure that they're doing okay. Just give me a quick, Lima Charlie, a little loud and clear. Let me know that you're okay. And believe me, it does wonders. I mean, somebody did that to me the other day, and I was like, holy shit, hey, I haven't heard from this dude in a while. Thanks, man, I appreciate it. So, it's all because we just don't want another person to commit suicide and be another statistic. I mean, that's one life is too many. So, but I think this is a good spot for us to index our little chat today. I'll see you later. And hoorah, get some. I am out of here. Sayonara, folks.